Hi, I'm Andrew Armstrong and welcome to the back office. You might have seen a previous video about this Famiclone. However, I decided I'm going to work on it. I did get my knickers in a twist. It does have composite audio and RF out, so I was getting all confused. However, I did start to speculate that if I could disable the RF side, I might get a cleaner composite side. So I thought, let's hook it up to my monitor. But then I just noticed something. We've got this LM7805 type regulator, and if I recall, if you look at it that way from the front, but this is the metal bit, you have input, ground and output. Yeah, so I was going to hook it up to my normal power doofers. I'm just going to unplug it just to check it does plug in. Yeah, it does fit. But the problem is, looking at this, I think this would have been center negative, but I'm just going to double check that, because this is the center pin, and looking at it, yeah, that's going to the negative and the outer one is going to positive. So the first things first, I'm going to change that because I cannot stand center negative. So perhaps this is like the beginning of this video is actually a tutorial on how to do that. Oh great, we've got a nice big capacitor here as well. So we'll have to turn that round. See where else this goes. That goes to the video ground. Oh. Yeah, let me work this out and then we'll come back. Right, I was going to get all smart with it and try to work out this way, that way, it's left ways, right ways, but I think it's pointless. What I might as well just do, the simplest way, is actually just to cut around the two pads, and we'll just use wire jumpers over the rest. So I'm going to use this handy knife to see if it's sharp enough. Actually it's not. Someone told me to use the thing in the end to snap the blades. I'm going to have a go with that. I'm not that convinced about these. Sort of worked. Give you a very crap looking blade shard there. Let's turn off my soldering iron, it's a bit noisy. Got enough noise of the computer running behind me. Oh yeah, that's way sharper now. You can see a nice deep cut. So what I'm going to do is try to do two parallel cuts around, quite close together, and then I'm going to try to lift the piece in between. I hate center negative. What is that about? I hope I've got this right, of course. And then I'm converting it to center negative, and that's almost the complete opposite. And by almost I mean it is exactly literally the complete opposite of what I'm trying to achieve. Nice thing is though, at least you can replace those regulators quite easily. It's a standard 5-volt regulator, so oh god, I'm really making a mess of that. Of course you can take as much care as you want. I don't know, I kind of, am I taking not enough care? I could take more care, that's for sure, that's for shizzles, but also conversely I could quite easily just make another PCB and not bother with any of this, and then just have a PCB with the connectors I want at the end. But so I'm not really bothered about damaging it, and it's not like a particularly classic console, and even if it was, I don't think people care what's under the hood as long as it works with their telly. So that's my theory and I'm sticking to it. So also while I'm digging around here, I'm kind of aware also that the tuner circuitry for the RF side probably draws its power directly from this, so it might be always powered on, the actual tuner, once you do that. So just a quick trace, we've got ground, audio and video. That's the sort of wires it says here, ground, audio and video. So ground, and that's the regulator, in, ground, out. This is the output of the regulator, that's the voltage going to the board. Yeah, so these two are power rails. And then it will be, this is probably audio, and then, yep, that goes to this red connector, that's audio. And then video would be that one, which is jumping across by a resistor, some gubbins, and then coming to here, yeah. So really, yeah, these are just direct through composite things. So That's good. That's good for us. So let's just get on with the first bit of changing the polarity, and then we'll worry about the rest in a sec. Just need a bit of wire. It doesn't look like it needs particularly tough wire because it's only the world is falling down. My back office shelf. Right, here is some bits. Let's get that sorted out. So what we want to do is swap those two around. I'm just going to make sure there's definitely no continuity. So that would have been going to there originally, and that would have been going to there. Neither. Okay, yeah. So those two are joined, but that's fine. That one isn't going anywhere either. Good. So basically, we're going to put a wire from this pad to here, and then this pad to here. It's quite a short jumper. Let's start with that one first. It's nice and easy. Right, now we get the soldering iron on. I can't believe it's nearly the end of the day. Well, not really. It's about 4 or 5, and I haven't had any coffee so far. I do feel I'm becoming incoherent, and I've been consuming a lot of sugar and junk as well, so that doesn't help me focus and concentrate, but I really want to get this done. So please bear with me if I'm talking more nonsense than usual. Ow. So just studying this. We want this pin now to go where the other one used to, so if we just actually put a jumper across here, it'll be fine. I've made it a bit long, but I can't be bothered to cut it down. I think it will work just fine as it is. That's conveniently coming to there. Swap hands, shall we? Pre-tinned, so it should all just flow nice. Left-handed. Should just flow nicely when it heats up. There it is. Give a bit more solder in there. Can afford to be a bit more generous with the solder than the original manufacturers. Spot on. So that's that bit. So we just need one jumper now just to go from here to the input of that pin. So that's basically going across there to there. And you can see this wire really is too thick for this job. There's not much tracking there. Let's see if we can get that about right. Ow! Now if I recall this thing, it didn't have any like of the really good games. It had Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. I think that was the only big title it had on it. But it didn't have Mega Man. I really just like Mega Man 2. I think Mega Man 2 and Castlevania is pretty much all I'd play. I did like the idea of Metroid, but I never really got into it. I got into it more on the GameCube, of all things. But I think I just didn't get into it because I just weren't exposed to it. It just seemed to be a less common game. I mean, NES was pretty rare when I was a kid. Nobody really had it. And when Sega Master System came out, and then later Genesis, NES just didn't get a look in. But it all changed the day the Super Nintendo hit the streets. Okay, that wasn't a very good solder joint. So that thing looks like it could be shorting, but it is sitting on the lacquer. Let's just check that out. We just don't want continuity between here, and we don't. Good! So theoretically now, we're going to zoom out a bit more so we can see our little monitor, turn off the solder iron. So we've got a monitor here running, and one of these wires is its ground and one is its video. And last time we checked this, it was all arse about. So we're going to plug in a power supply. And I think we're going to turn this on, but I can't quite remember which way is on. So let's just try a wire in the output. Nothing. Just going to double check this real quick to see what it thinks. Yeah, the black wire it thinks is the composite output. It's the weirdest colouring. And if that is the case, I can just solder that on. What I can do though is let's just see what's going on at the other side of that regulator. Yes, we're seeing a 4.7 volts there. So we're getting a 6 volts in. 0, good, ground, and then we're getting 4.7 volts out. So that regulator is there's a little bit of a drop on that. So we're going to, this red wire is ground on this lead, alarmingly. So we're going to hook up the video ground manually. Now I'm going to hook up the composite. There you go, fella. There you go, big fella. Nada. We're not getting nothing. He see nothing. Hey, senor. There's no video signal. Okay, we have some success. So it took a bit of jiggling in the cartridge just to get it to sort of settle down, but you can see we've got a picture. It's not very bright. It's actually pretty dark. I've turned the brightness up, but you know, we have a picture and we can play Mario if we wanted to, which is great, but we do have these sort of vertical streaks. So I am just sort of going to have a quick look now at this PCB while it's running, just to see if there's any way that we can see if we can affect this kind of dodgy thing that's going on with that vertical streaking. And I just want to just disable really the RF just in case that's all it is. And I see there is potentially a jumper that runs from here to here that does seem to be going into the sort of circuitry that does a bunch of that stuff. So I can, if I'm very careful, try to remove that jumper, and I can move it by pushing it through from the top. Hello. Yes. So maybe we need to do a little bit of a reset there. So we turn it off and we'll turn it back on again. So I don't think it likes that getting removed. But I'm just going to continue anyway. Let's take that jumper out all the way. The reason being, it's pretty bit hot, but it's pretty easy to experiment with on the top side here. If it actually has any effect or not. Okay, so we'll knock it off. So you can see the screen actually does flicker when you turn it on and off, though. It's a bit odd, isn't it? So I'm just going to cut a piece of wire. It's a lot easier to play with a long, big piece of wire than a tiny little bit of bent metal. Right. So I saw the screen flicker again then, ever so slightly. So I push the reset button and the game menus come back on. Take the jumper off it goes. Ow. Jumper on, jumper off. It's a bit peculiar. So let's see if we can figure out why that is then. That jumper is powering up some gubbins on that side, so it sort of implies that the video signal, which comes across this resistor, goes down through here. There is a transistor here. So the video signal is going via some other bits and bobs. It's not going directly to here. So even if we bypass it, it's not doing anything. Okay, maybe another jump cut and we'll see what's going on. My sort of theory is maybe that transistor is acting as an amplifier or something, but I'm going to have a bit more digging. You can see there's been a lot of jiggery pokery. Yes, that's because I've been playing with it more and it sort of conked out and went away and didn't come back on, so I started messing around, scopes, everything. Got it back. So we can see the monitor again, got those slight vertical streaks, but now I've realised that's not the problem. The biggest problem with this unit isn't the screen, it's actually the sound. Listen to this. Yeah. If I just pause the game, you've got that massive buzz all the time. And what I discovered was, if I play with this power switch here, maybe it's not the power switch actually. So you see I've turned the switch now to the off position, but I'm actually shorting it out so the power's still going through. But see how it's gone quiet? Something weird going on there. Cocked it up. So I'm going to try putting a solder jumper across that bit there where the power's going through. Something very odd here. So that's between these two contacts. I'm going to need a pretty big blob to cover that. Still noisy though. Oh. It's gone a bit quieter. Let's see if we go into a game now. Bit of binary land. Thing is, now that's at maximum volume. It's gone very quiet basically. Fiddling, fiddling, fiddling. At least it's not got the hiss, but it's just not very loud. It's a problem with these old games, isn't it, really? Oh, I like binary land. Okay, well, I don't know. I think I'm just going to have to keep fiddling with this and hopefully there'll be some sort of resolution here to my woes. But that's odd now. It's odd how it's gotten so quiet. Maybe it's some bad caps, maybe it's something, who knows. I'll just have to keep probing around really. Strange about that power switch though. I mean, if we take that solder blob away then there's a sort of sanity check. It is away. Okay, see if we can turn it on. That sounded bad though, right? It's definitely got some sort of effect. Much louder too. Well, I'll do a follow-up video if I ever figure out what's going on with this. And if not, oh well. Well, maybe the modern day Famiclones are a lot better than these ones made in the sort of 1990s. Let's try that one last time, shall we? Come on. Solder jumper. So maybe that's it, just live with the quiet volume. Okay, I couldn't let it lie. I just kept playing with it. The low voltage on the line out seems odd, and it's going to this pot noodle speaker. It's not very loud, but it is giving me 1.8 volts out, which I think is probably okay for a line out voltage. I'm not sure what is a line out voltage. I always assumed it was sort of 1 or 2 volts peak to peak, but I don't know, maybe it's 5. Doesn't matter though, it's noise free, and that's what matters. So I'm just going to desolder that actually. And I'm going to desolder the connection to the monitor. The monitor's actually looking pretty good. It's not particularly streaky or anything like that going on. And then I'm going to show you what I did, and that's why I kind of want to get rid of these connections. So we can, I'm going to put this back in the box after we're done chatting. After you and I are done chatting. So what I did, by the way, the internal cartridge port doesn't seem to work, so that's weird. I don't know how the chip selects work on that, so that board will have to stay out. Maybe I'll swap that with the Lunar Ball game. But this is my mod in the end. So what I've had to do is I've removed the old voltage regulator because it was just not putting out enough volts really. It was taking the full 6 in and then putting out, you know, 4.7 or something. And I did some experiments. When this got the full 6 volts, I jumped over the voltage regulator. When it got the full 6 volts, it was very stable and very quiet. So I think it just needed a bit more power. So I found this other voltage regulator. Unfortunately, it had a different pin out, but I managed to sort of jury rig it and hook it up in there. And this does give a solid 5 volts out. And yeah, it's noise free and it sort of works. So for me now at the moment, that's good enough just to sort of box it all up. And now I know that internal cartridge slot is naff, then at least I won't waste time trying to see what's going on with that. I'm not sure really on how these determine whether that second cartridge is used or not, that slot. There is a diode here. It's a bit weird really. Obviously one's going to take precedent over the other, but I think it's simpler for now just to leave it out. So even when this game eventually expires, there's plenty of other Famiclones, at least I can keep this, and that'll be a bit of fun. Thanks for watching. Thank heavens that's over.